Welcome back, frenemies, to episode 81, our first quarter surprises episode. I'm your host, Chris. To my right, the commish Sean, and to my left in his place, the man of the people, Ryan, is not here, but we have his crown sitting on his mic.
I had a good week this week. Listened for 757 for maybe a little more, but he had a good week.
Give him a little more of a shout out. He just couldn't make it tonight to record the episode. But today we're discussing those surprise guys at every fantasy position, the main fantasy positions through the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think everybody, you do your draft and you kind of forget about what that order was, but it's just crazy to look at a quarter of the way through the season, all these guys that we did not think were going to be there.
Yeah, and he kind of got the ball rolling for me. Our friend Jake Seeley, his one tweet blew up on a bunch of other guys' podcasts about the top 25 and what it was supposed to be, and then all the ones that are injured, it had just not playing. It's just it's really different this year, upside down. But if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or one of the other podcast platforms, just reminding you can watch us on YouTube or our Instagram page at FrenemiesFFPod.
We promise we're going to get better on there because so far we've had Minshew and AJ Green as our calls.
Well, listen to our podcast drop on there, and then Sean and I's hot take. Well, it's not hot. Well, it's hot. It's hot trash.
Maybe we need to
hot
be
garbage.
Yeah, hot garbage is a better way to describe it. Yeah, I'll call it the hot garbage segment until we prove ourselves.
Until we can do something right there. All right, so let's dive right into some fantasy reactions. Sean, I'm kicking it over to you, man. Some tough news here coming out of the week 4.
Yeah, this happens every week in fantasy, and this week it was Austin Eckler. The good news is it looks like a multiple week injury, not a season long.
Yep.
I would highly doubt he comes back before half of the season's over, but there is still hope that at the end of the season you could get some Austin Eckler. He had a hamstring, I believe, a severe hamstring.
It was a second grade hamstring pull.
Yeah.
And so he's on the short-term IR, but they're looking at it can still be up to 6 weeks because of severity.
The big fantasy news is that you now have to go out to the waiver wires and pick up all these players, or 2 players in specific, Joshua Kelly and Justin Jackson. We've talked about Joshua Kelly quite a bit. He had some stinkers the last few weeks here, so he may be on your waiver wire if you want to run out and grab him. I think he's the better option.
Yeah.
But I think right below him is Justin Jackson. We saw him last year kind of take that role when Melvin Gordon wasn't there. So he's not a bad dart throw if you want to spend a little less fab. I think Justin Jackson's not a bad place to do it.
Joshua Kelly's fab's going to go up because I believe he's going to take the passing targets.
Yeah.
Where Eckler is leaving behind there. Next one, Nick Chubb.
Oh, this one's worse.
Yeah, so going down the MCL sprain, timetable still unknown, but I think you can look at up to 6 weeks, just like Austin Eckler here. So Nick Chubb owners, I mean, these are 2 first-round picks, right? With the other string of running backs that were already hurt these last couple of weeks. Sean, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, we're still waiting for more confirmation exactly how bad his injury is. It did not look good.
No. Rolled up by someone behind him. Not even like him being active running the ball. He was blocking and rolled up behind him.
I was upset because I was playing Tim, who just traded for Kareem Hunt, who he really didn't get all the work, and that's kind of where I'll talk about is I think Dearness Johnson is actually a really good pickup this week. That's kind of how these reactions and injuries go. There's one guy goes down, it means the waiver wire is now ready to be taken. So I think that it could be a little sticky situation going on because I don't know if it'll be Hilliard or Deontay or what is it?
You just said
Dearness
Johnson. Yeah.
Yes. I want to call him Ernest Johnson or DeAndre, but
when I was watching that game on Sunday, I had to go to my phone like, who the heck?
Yeah, they said Alliance Football League or something is where he came out of.
The AAF. Yep.
Yeah, so I would put he's my top running back this week, I think, because Chubb is going to be out a significant amount of time, and that offense, it's working. Baker's not working, but the run game is working.
Yeah, the whole offense is working. Yes. It's working. Let's go to the guy that was working for his team all night long, George Kittle. When we look at
Mullen's favorite person in the world,
15 targets, and Kittle caught all 15.
Yeah.
183 yards touchdown, and he also ran once.
Yeah.
Can we just look at a tight end being targeted that many times is unheard of?
I mean, when you look at the roster and who they're throwing to, injured Deebo Samuel, a rookie, I can see why even, a backup quarterback kind of target those tight ends a little bit more. But even still, yeah, Kittle. There's not much to report here. You're starting Kittle over and over again.
Yeah, it's just amazing to me. I thought it was worthy to bring up to not just be targeted 15 times, but as a tight end to catch all 15 targets.
Yep.
You know,
He's a beast, man.
He's amazing. And then, this COVID mess this past week, we're both commissioners, but you're commissioner of a little bigger league than I am. How was it messing with all the settings?
Yeah, that was something fun to navigate. I think it's kind of a taste of what we might actually be going through. So, the big one that happened was the Steelers-Tennessee game. We talked a little bit about that. That just turned into a bye week. You got a little bonus where you could put your bye week player on your injured reserves. You had COVID injured reserves. But as far as going forward, if we have these last minute things where it's like we're still waiting for tests to come back, like we were with the Kansas City New England thing, a lot of podcasters are different analysts are suggesting this, and I really think it's the way to go. Is that you just need to have a group chat or whatever your platform provides, and you need to state your intentions. If my player has a bye week, like if say Tyreek Hill ended up having the bye week this week, they pushed that game.
Yeah.
Then you say, I would have started Keelan Cole was my example that I had. So then what you would do is you just leave Tyreek Hill in there, and then your commissioner after the fact, if that does happen, can retroactively put that player in, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of down in the weeds.
It's down in the weeds here, but what we're saying to guys who are in leagues that might have been a little messy, or if you're a commissioner, make sure your league settings on we suggest Sleeper app, but there's also good ones in ESPN and Yahoo. You just go and find out what you can do retroactively to help out those guys.
Yeah, and the big thing is to be clear on the upfront. At least for my league, I know if you just try to add something after the fact, that's not going to look too good. So just, as you hear these things coming out, try to get in your chats and start. How does your league feel about this?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Well, let's go from that to our party question.
Ian, would you like to go to a party in my pants?
No, Brick.
All right, let's go.
All right, so this week's party question comes from one of our listeners. If you had to name a boat, a fantasy football themed
What
name,
listener was this, by the way?
I don't know.
Okay.
What would it be? Maybe somebody with some nautical ties here, I guess. Because first off, I ain't owning a boat anytime soon. Unless it's one of those little fishing boats I can just toss out there. All right. But if you, Sean, had to name a boat, a fantasy football themed name, what would it be?
Actually, I'm going to throw it over to you because I want to wallow in this later. But we'll let you go first.
So I call it the USS Fitzmagic because the party never stops, which is hilarious because people that know me, I don't like to party. I'm like that early to bed guy, or I'll binge watch something on TV. You want to go out and party? Nah, I'm good. Stay inside. But I was thinking of fun names. It's Fitzmagic, man.
Yeah.
Every time he throws in the shades on,
sounds like a pretty fun cruise line.
Yeah, something that he was dressed in. He was out there looking like he was on a yacht, right? So I think I would call it Fitzmagic because it'd be hilarious, and then you would have to be a football or fantasy football fan to understand the name of a boat when you walk by it.
Yep. So mine is not hilarious. It's
I know. Yep.
It's tragic. It is.
It's tragic.
The Titanic.
That's what you should have called it.
Yeah. Oh, that'll work too, because my name is Fitz, and it's a tragedy going on. Oh, that's my new team name. I think I might need to change the commish to Fitz Tragic. Because, yeah, I personal experience here. The Titanic. I know you guys know what that is. My team. It was this big exciting thing when the Titanic came out. Everybody was going on it, and all the rich people were excited to go on this boat that was just the coolest new thing. And that's what my fantasy team looked like. Jonathan Taylor's coming up because Mac's hurt. My roster is just chock full of amazing running backs, and I'm 0-4. So it has hit an iceberg, and we are sinking quickly, and I don't know what to do.
Help the auction league that you and I are both in co-managing.
Oh, God.
That
one's beyond.
We're co-managing like Michael Scott and Jim here. We're not doing a great job co-managing that squad.
The Titanic at least had hope at the beginning. We did not. We were that little dinghy that was next to the Titanic that never had a shred of hope and continued to sink. So.
Auction leagues too, they suck as well when it comes. You can't tank for a pick or nothing, man.
It's rough in the streets out there. I know. Just shout out to all you that are struggling with your fantasy teams. That kind of can be our segue here. Reminder: don't give up, because there's all sorts of people in your league that feel the same way that you do. That the season's over. I've lost this many games, and really you're not out of it yet. I mean, it's only a quarter of the way through. you win out, you know, you can make it to the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, it's anybody's game.
Yeah, it is. You got to live off the
I
waiver
have to keep
wires.
telling myself this.
Yeah, and make trades. Make tons of trades. Don't try to just lowball guys. Make trades that make sense to you to make other moves. Maybe add on extra pieces to throw at other guys in your league. Look at everyone's roster and find the most suitable things to fill your needs as well.
And you can be a little more aggressive if you're in that position. Like, you know, you can make trades that just seem risky, but if it doesn't work out, then, you know, you were going to lose anyway. So
Yeah, you're on the outside looking in. Go for it.
if you see that guy that's had a breakout week and you just think this could be for real, go grab him.
Yep. Well, in the first 4 weeks of the season, we've had some surprises. Some of these
As we
names
do
might
every
not.
year.
Yeah. Some of these names might be known to you now, but at the beginning of the season, when you were drafting and we were commentating about who to pick, these guys weren't extremely high on our radar, and two of these dudes weren't even on our radar at all.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into the quarterback position. He's not as big a surprise. I would say you're
He was
looking
a-
at where he's landing right now in the top 3 quarterbacks in fantasy football.
He being Josh Allen.
Yes, sir.
Quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. I think I've said this on the podcast already. I'm eating crow just because I did not think that he could take this leap, and he did. And, you know, I'll admit it. He's made that leap, and now he is a top 5, probably top 3 quarterback right now.
Yeah, he's got a shoulder
You
injury.
start him every week. It doesn't matter. Is that matchup?
Yeah, shoulder injuries to non-throwing shoulder, so it'll still be rough. But to piggyback off that, he's averaging 30 fantasy points, which was ridiculous, and it's all with his arm.
Yep.
Very little bit with his legs. That's the added bonus. But when we were chalking it up at the beginning of the year, we were just thinking you're going to get the running with him. He's like sneaky good at goal line carries.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs has really helped. I think that's the biggest change that has helped his deep game.
Yeah.
And you saw it with quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins and Case Keenum. He turned them into some pretty good quarterbacks by being able to run those deep routes. Next guy I'll talk about for first. I will hand it over to Chris because he has some, hopefully not hot garbage, but hot takes about this guy.
Yeah.
And James Robinson. So he's one that I picked up off the waiver wire right before the season started. Kind of got the word really late that he was going to be the Jaguars' starting running back, at least for the first 3 weeks until the other guys got healthy. And boy, has he paid off, man.
Oh, man.
He's been a delight. The one bright spot on my sinking Titanic of a team is that I have James Robinson. And yeah, I mean, I'll throw it to you, but you kind of, this week we were discussing trades. And if you want to check out the 757 podcast, we'll talk a little more about that trade. But he was kind of advising me saying, I think this guy's for real, like for real. So what's your take on James Robinson, Chris?
I mean, first off, had to Google the dude where he came out of school, Illinois State. Like what?
Was he undrafted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's coming in, but they raved about him. He's a 3-down back, but he's got great size. So it's not a tiny scat back getting, little points here out of the pass game. He can actually run the ball between the tackles. And my favorite phrase described about him coming out of Jacksonville is that he's a thoroughbred ready to go. That means they're going to feed him. He's averaging over 17 points a week.
Yeah.
That's RB6 right now in half-point PPR leagues. From last-second pickup, so probably after week 1 waiver wire pickup in most leagues, that's a huge surprise. And with all these injuries falling down, this guy's stock just keeps rising up.
Yep.
So he's been, I love him to death. You got to value him higher if you got guys trying to trade for him.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
Do not say, okay, he's not a throwaway.
No.
Chris Thompson is not taking carries away from him. The other two
receptions
guys,
barely even.
yeah, the other 2 rookie guys, I can't remember their names. They're on IR, and they're probably not going to take away.
Zigbo and
Armstead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Raquel Armstead.
They're not taking James Robinson away, touches away.
No.
He's keeping him. So if you have him extra, and you can trade him away for a need that you need on your roster, you better ask a lot in return.
All right, and then next we have this would make Ryan very happy because he
Very
kept
happy.
DJ Metcalf, as he calls him, or AKA DK Metcalf, and he is freaking on fire, dude. And so we're talking about the Seattle wide receiving duo.
Both Seattle receivers are in the top 10. I had to look at it twice. I knew Tyler Lockett would be up there. But Tyler Lockett, again, half-point PPR rankings, he's second. We know all those big games. But Metcalf, he's number 8.
I know.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's completely insane.
When was the last time we had a team? I know it's only 4-week sample, but this thing can project all the way through. That there's 2 top 10 wide receivers.
I'm
fantasy
thinking,
value.
yeah, this what it reminds me of is Green Bay. Remember Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb. I mean, we're going back, but
That's further back there.
but
Yeah,
they were just every week starters. Wide receiver ones that you could just continue to start, and that's how I view these guys. Like, if you have DK Metcalf and you're thinking about selling high, you better sell real high. Like I'm talking top 5 wide receiver high. I honestly think I don't know. I got to watch quite a bit of him this week because they played the Dolphins, and we should have freaking had a chance. 5 times inside the 10-yard line and 5 field goals. I mean, come on, Dolphins.
yeah.
Anyway,
So you're looking at it. So even with the down week last week against the Dolphins, that really was one of those trap game type of fields. They still average over 16 points apiece. 16.7 for Lockett, 16.1 for Metcalf. Are you kidding? Between 2 and 8, and these guys are not. I mean, that's how slim the margin is between them two. And so, if you're doing daily fantasy, I did it this week, kind of bit me in the butt, but I'm going to do the same thing again next week. I'm going to roster both those guys. I'm doubling down.
Russ is going to score, so
yeah,
those guys will continue to cook, as they say.
Yeah, you got to let Russell cook there, man. I love that. Now, this last one here at tight end, Dalton Schultz.
Yes. You mean like
Schultz,
Hayden Hurst, right?
whatever,
That's
like-
the one everybody thought was going to break out.
Nope.
Or you mean like Higbee, right? Oh, that's not
Nope.
looking good. No. Dalton Schultz. Took Blake Jarwin going down. That's
the backup to Blake Jarwin, who was supposed to be everyone's darling this year. I don't know if it's just an offensive fit or because Dallas can't. They don't
That's
like
it.
playing until they're behind by 3 scores.
their defense is awful. And Dak Prescott destroyed me this week on Tim's team. This is going to keep happening. I think this defense is not going to get any better, and that offense is powerful enough to keep catching up. So, I mean, that's fantasy gold right there.
I mean, Schultz.
Everybody but Gallup, of course, on my team.
Yeah. You have that one guy who doesn't catch the ball. Schultz is at tight end 7 right now for a gunslinging offense, just over 10 points. When you can get yourself double digits of any sort at the tight end position, you got yourself a keeper.
Yep.
Because it's like a touchdown dependent, but this guy's getting enough targets that he can get close to north of 8, and you're going to be pretty happy with that tight end position. So he's a huge surprise. Nobody was picking him up. I picked him up off waivers last week.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, I don't know. I mean, he's had 2 weeks of production, a little bit about 3, but he's coming on hot, and he's not taking away from everyone else on that offense. There's just when you have a quarterback slinging it 50 times, you got to find 50 different ways to get the ball dispersed, right?
Can't throw all of them to Amari Cooper, although he's trying.
He's trying. But anyway, so that's our first quarter fantasy surprises. Is there anyone we're missing, Commish, that you want to throw in there?
No, I'll just make a quick note on the tight ends for waiver wire type thing. He, like you said, Dalton Schultz probably isn't out there, but a guy that probably is and may stay out there because he has a bye week next week, and I would actually roster him through the bye, is Robert Tonyan. That dude looks to be
3 TDs last night,
yeah,
right?
I mean, it's not going to be this good all the
golly.
time because Devontae Adams isn't going to be out the whole year. He'll be back soon. And so he'll lose some of those targets. But I think it's for real, man. I think Rodgers likes him as a target. And, Rodgers is on fire right now. So
I
roll
heard
with the Packers.
he and Kittle are like BFFs, so I'm like, I'll
know,
take
I
that.
saw that.
I was like, okay, maybe.
Man buns, right?
Yeah, man. Whatever training to just train with Kittle. Then we got ourselves a new surprise. We should have brought Tonyan in on this one, but hey, we need a little more production out of him. So that's our podcast for the week here. Get out there and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Frenemies FF Pod. We're still on Facebook and on YouTube at Frenemies Fantasy
Yeah, if you
Football
want
Podcast.
to hit us up on those socials, this week, I know we don't have too many fans, but the fans we have out there, can you please, we're begging you, just to get some interaction going, who's your fantasy surprises so far of the first quarter? Like, who's the guy that you think is for real, kind of came out of nowhere, and, people need to start valuing him as such?
Yes, let us know, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
On the flippity flop.
Deuces.